We need to talk.
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 Welcome back to Meet to Talk, episode number 78. I'm your host, MR.KOA, alongside
Top Boy.
We sound crispy tonight. Crispy. As you can see, we both have Shure mics today. Shure mics are actually the staple mic to be used in like the audio industry. We've been tweaking. If you guys have listened to our episodes for the last, I guess, 5 weeks now, every episode sounds a little different here or there. This might be better, this might be worse. Sometimes our videos a little echoes or just it's been a mental nightmare for both of us, audio wise and visually. It's just been crazy for the last couple of weeks trying to, we had our Yeti mics. Sometimes we had a Yeti, sometimes we had a lapel mic, someone had a lapel. I might have a Zoom. He might have a Zoom recorder. I have a lapel. It was all over the place.
We're trying to figure it out.
It was all over.
We can't even tell you how annoying it was trying to edit this shit. Imagine trying to edit something, and every 2 seconds there's just an echo.
It was a headache, to say the least. But we both invested in some come up gear.
Okay.
So you should be listening to us rather crispy right now through your headset or whatever device you're using to listen to audio. But this is much better. I got some bass in my voice. Zamor's voice is deeper than mine, so you're gonna hear his Bane voice on the other side.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so I posted a question today. We can get into that real quick to get started. Or yes, did I post it today or yesterday? Posted today. It was what is the question?
Question is,
turn off or
what is
write-offs? Yeah, go ahead.
What is something that would be an automatic write-off of someone you're interested in? Are there any exceptions to your rule?
Right.
Cool. You want to go through some of the responses to that?
Yeah, go through some of those.
Okay. We'll go through the responses, then we'll talk about ours.
Sure.
How
many responses were there?
There were, how many in total here? If I go to the post, 32. All right. It's quite a bit. Thank you, everyone, commenting on that. First up, we have Sydney here. Sid M. Ray, long time listener of the show. She said, dabbling around with their ex. And then she elaborated in a separate comment and said, dabbling around with their ex but keeping you there because they're selfish. However,
this sounds so specific.
Dabbling around with their ex but keeping you there because they're selfish. However, their ex is in a relationship and they just waiting around. LOL. Brackets, there's a story behind this. I literally responded, I'm saying, stop telling on yourself.
The question was what's an automatic write-off? And she basically told the situation dealing with yesterday. So yesterday I was on a date and
this is what happened.
Oh man.
Another person.
Dabbling with your ex. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean that's obviously a write-off. Like why how are you talking to someone dabbling with their ex? That's kind of talking to them. It's kind of a given, but sure.
Definitely a given. Okay, next person. VFTP, views from the Placious. I think that's how it's pronounced. Playing the victim after being called out. No exception. So I'm trying. That
pisses me off.
It definitely annoys me. I'm just trying to figure out
is that a write-off though? How do you write that off?
That would annoy me if I'm already in a relationship with you and you start doing this. That's when I'm like, oh, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, that's not an automatic write-off. So just to clarify the question, maybe it's ambiguous or maybe unclear. What I mean by write-off is like if you just get to know somebody, you want to first couple dates or whatever, you're talking on the phone, whatever it is, and they say something, you're like, oh, you're just going for a smoke, huh? Yeah, I'm just going for a smoke break. Oh yeah, because that's one of mine. Smoking.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
That period. And people say, "What smoking? What weed or cigarette?" Like, I don't personally smoke weed. I have smoked weed before. I'm not to say I'm okay with smoking weed, but my rules bend a little bit more with weed. Yeah. If you're a weed head, like pot head, like that also turned me off as well. Like if you're always high. Yeah. Then that's also a turn off, but it's not a turn off because of the weed. It's just if you're always high, I'm just it's a turn off. I get that. But cigarettes there's no exception. Like nicotine, tar, rat poison, idiotness. Like it doesn't make sense to me. And it smells like shit. Your breath smells, and you want to kiss me, and I already know my complex with kissing.
Yeah,
smoke mouth is just
not the best.
So there's one of mine.
Next person, Blake. This man lives in Dubai. He's listening to our podcast.
How you know that?
I went to his profile. Because his profile and check. Sadeem Blake. He said disrespect. If you're someone that's disrespectful to people you know and people you don't know, that's pretty much an immediate write-off. I mean, you could fuck around with your friends and all that's cool, but if you don't respect strangers either, that's mad. Right? I get that. Like, the thing is, I don't think I've ever actually met a woman
who is disrespectful, like in
who's
front of you,
straight up an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
like where you like noticed it. Where you're like, whoa.
Where I noticed off rip, like, yo, you're actually mean.
Nah,
I've never really met a woman like that, but I've seen it from a distance.
I feel like you wouldn't even attract that personally.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't know the girl, I feel like there's still an energy. Like before you even go talk to someone, you still see an energy. And like if someone's a bitch, like you would read that before you even getting to a point where you're writing it off.
Exactly.
Like you just be like, she's a bitch. I'm not gonna go over there.
Yeah. That's a good point. Jamaican Gal 101. She said, bad hygiene, BO, bad teeth. If you can't take care of yourself in the simplest of ways by taking a shower and brushing your teeth, then how you expect to take care of me? No exceptions. Hygiene is hygiene. There shouldn't be an excuse as to why you can't bathe or brush your teeth or use a wet wipe or use some mouthwash. Like, she went off. Like, I feel like
this is another specific scenario.
Another specific one.
Come on, guys, ladies, you guys are airing your business out right now. Who are these guys you're dealing with? This was your post to let it out, eh?
What kills me, bro, is like, even though this is very valid, it kills me how many times in this statement she brought up bad hygiene and bad teeth.
Like she kept bringing it up. Hitting that home.
Bad hygiene and bad teeth is bad. If you have bad teeth, it's bad. If you can't brush your teeth, it's bad. You know what I mean?
Or use a wet wipe.
Use a wet wipe, it's bad. What? Okay. Amanda Brunette. A man with no ambition or who has an excuse for everything. I got a bunch of likes. I got 5 likes.
I know those mans.
Another one with hygiene. What's his name? KOFO. I don't know. Zero hygiene, ambition, vocabulary, sense of humor, moral compass.
Oh, the key of O. The key of O. That's Omar.
Omar. My bad, Omar. I'm sorry. The key of O. This man just listed all the things. Zero hygiene, ambition, vocabulary, sense of humor, moral compass, respectability. Like, if you don't have any of these, like, right off.
Right off. Huh. Okay. Did anyone say there's an exception? Because I put the question. I put as the question, and are there any exceptions to your rule? Did anyone actually have an exception to any of the rules?
No. The thing is, I don't think no one did that, and I don't think people want to put that out there that
there's an exception.
I don't think, because you know what it is. I think depending on the person,
you'll bend.
There's you definitely won't break, but you will bend a little, right? Like, okay,
I bent. Okay. I'm not gonna. Bent.
I'll tell you right now, right?
No, not smoking.
I'll tell you right now. Smoking cigarettes, I fucking hate. Yeah. I actually won't bend on that at all. No. But it's not necessarily a write-off from the jump unless you get to see the girl's place where she lives, right? If her place is messy, that's, in most cases, that is a write-off for me. I don't know why.
No, I know why.
I don't know why. Like,
it just seeing filth just depicts filth.
Yeah, like
if you're home,
where you come home,
you're home.
Where you go every day
stinks,
messy. I can't see the floor.
Did I tell you that story from time with the?
No, I never told
you that story.
No,
I 100% definitely told you the story about.
I want to hear this. Go.
I'm gonna say a name right now. We're gonna cut this. Ever told you the story?
No. Oh. No.
Oh. I've never told you this story.
No, you never told me this. Tell me.
So we're not gonna say names, but Oh my God. Okay. To this day, we had this like weird interaction because like that day kind of just pretend like it never happened.
So you guys like still weird when you see each other?
It's just
if
like,
you see each other.
No, it's like, hey, like it's almost like you and I both know that night happened, but like let's just go back. Let's just get past this. Let's just, if we're in public, we just act like we're normal. Like, but we both know. Anyway, so I'm surprised I never told you the story. Maybe I fucking buried it. But anyway.
It sounds like you did.
So I ended up meeting this chick at the club back in my clubbing days. And, the night was cool. We're chilling back and forth, flirting, yada, yada. And she's like, hey, what are you doing later after the club? I'm like, no, nothing. Just go back to your place if you want. She's like, cool. All right. Those. Get back to the place. We get there. Before I get there, you ever have girls that like preface before? Oh, my house is messy. Every girl says that, but some girls are actually bullshitting. Yeah. Like most girls, there might be like a sock, and you're like, what? No, my house is so messy. Yeah. Girls always do that, right? Yeah. And you usually get in there, you're like, what are you talking? Like, has it happened before? Where girls like, I'm sorry, my house is messy. You're like, I'm sure it's not, and it's like one dish, like Yeah,
it's not that bad.
She meant that shit. When she said my house is messy, she meant that shit, Zamora.
And I actually,
she meant that shit.
I know why it's messy.
And the thing is, I thought it was one of the like a normal girl was like, oh, I was like, no, you talking about? She meant that shit. What were you gonna say?
So because I know who this is.
Okay.
I think I can speculate why she's so messy. Not that it even matters.
Okay.
Because it's still mess.
Right.
But she's always worked in the service industry, like nightlife all the time. Yeah. So I feel like she's one of those people. She might have been. I don't know how she is now. Yeah. But back then, she might have been one of those people where, do what she has to do during the day, fucking works until like 3-4 in the morning, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm just go home and sleep." And it just piled up, and then it became her normal.
Right.
But it's not normal for us.
Right.
That's why I think that's why.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's acceptable. I don't think it's acceptable.
Maybe. So she prefaced the whole night before I got there. She's like, oh, I'm just letting you know my house is messy. I didn't get to clean. Like, I've been so busy the last couple of weeks. I'm like, no, it's all good. I'm sure it's fine. No, like I'm so like I don't even want to bring you in. I'm like, stop. I'm like, it's fine. It's like it's 3 a.m. in the morning. We're just trying to fuck. Like, no one really cares. Like, I really don't care about the mess. Like, I really didn't care. Yeah. So I thought. We get to the place, chatting it up. I walk inside. First thing I see is the kitchen. Kitchen filled with dishes. Filled. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite.
By herself? Was she living there by herself?
Live by herself. I'm like, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite because there's times that I don't do my dishes all the time. Like, I mean, mind you, it's never filled with dishes, but I was like, maybe, yeah, who knows? Dishes are dishes. We've all had our issues with dishes. I was like, I'll let that slide. I walk by the kitchen. It's 3 a.m. Whatever, cool. Get to the bedroom. She stands for the door. She's like, wait, let me just fix some stuff. I'm just like, relax. No, just wait. I'm like, yo, at this point, I'm just trying to have sex. I don't really care about what this room looks like, but I'm like, cool, do your thing. And she's like, okay, I'm just fix some stuff. So I let her walk in the room by herself, whatever. Give her like 2 minutes. So whatever she did in those 2 minutes, which means it was worse before. Whatever the hell she did when I gave her those 2 minutes means it was worse than what I saw after. So I was like, all right, do your thing. She's like, okay, cool. Come in. I can't clean everything right now. I'm like, all right, fine.
I can't clean everything right now.
Because I'm like, she had me standing outside for like, Yeah. I get inside the room, and first of all, the mattress on the floor. Let's just start with that.
Can I ask how many years ago this was? Like, how old were you?
This has got to be, I'm 30 right now, so has to be at least 5 years. So 25 years old, minimum.
Just living on a mattress at 25.
Mattress on the floor. Okay. I'm like, okay. Again, I don't know you like that. I'm not here to judge really, but I was kind of like, okay. Made some observations, whatever. I sit down on the floor beside her little table she had that was there. I look to my right and there's a mug In the mug is curdled milk, molded milk, mold. I look in the mug. I'm like, is that? And she's like, oh, I forgot to. It's tea from like a couple weeks ago. I'm like,
couple weeks ago.
I just forgot to. I'm like, can you pick that up? Yeah. I'm like, no, like, can you go wash that? Like
No, you didn't.
I swear to God.
You said go wash that.
I swear. I was upset.
You didn't even say take it away. You said go wash that.
I was genuinely upset. I was genuinely genuinely mad.
I'm clipping this. I'm clipping this.
I was genuinely mad, I'm
clipping this
like
for the
an
video,
elderly
so you know.
grandparent, like an old Jamaican. Like I was literally like, go wash that dish, go wash that. There's a mold in that mug. In your bedroom, beside your bed, on the floor. I was like, go wash that. She, go ahead. She picks it up, goes to the kitchen. Washing the kitchen, I'm laying in the bed. Now I'm disappointed. My dick is shriveling. My dick is shriveling into my fucking chest right now. I'm not even horny anymore. I'm just starting to feel sick. I look to my left.
Oh my God.
I look to my right. Sorry. She has laundry all over the friggin' bedroom. Dirty panties, bras, everything just all over the ground. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, maybe this is clean laundry. You know, sometimes I do my laundry. I just throw my clean stuff there. It's like, I'm too lazy to fold it. You know.
Yeah.
She comes back in, and I'm like, oh, is this all clean laundry? She's like, oh no, it's dirty laundry. I didn't get to do it. I'm like, these panties these are all dirty panties. And she's like, yeah, let me just get this. Zamora, dirty.
All those things.
Zamora, I laid there and I'm like, I feel a little tired. I'm just.
You pulled down feeling a little tired.
I literally said, I'm feeling a little tired. I'm like, yeah, like, just laid there. I took a nap. I woke up, left. Never spoke to her ever again until I bumped her months later at a club. And it was like, oh my God, hey. And I was like, hey. And she like had that look like, I know why you haven't spoken. Like it was almost like she knew. And she knew like she's like, he's not coming back.
And that's one of those things where
he's not coming back ever.
No one there's no scenario or anything in her head that she could make up that would allow her to be angry at you for never talking to her again.
No.
You know what I mean?
Like there's actually like, I know she was embarrassed, and you know what? And you know what? It's my fault. When she told me her place was dirty, I should have believed her. I gave her the benefit. I was like, nah.
But that's the
she
thing,
meant
bro.
that.
Like,
she meant it, and that's my fault.
You never
like,
never like actually think it's that
it's
bad.
Never that dirty. Girls are always so like, oh my God, my house is this, and it's like a little bit of dust there. But this was actually a pigsty.
A mess. Bro, so going back to the whole thing about your question, what would you like?
That's a write-off for me.
Is it, yeah.
Now that there you go.
Write-off, but like, what's something that's typically a write-off but an exception? So the only time in my life, my not number one, but it's definitely in my top 5 write-off is messiness, right? The only time I've ever made an exception for that was with Jamie. That's literally the only time.
What do you mean?
So,
like because you live together.
We live together.
So you're kind of forced to.
No. So now it's nowhere near as bad, bro.
Okay.
She understands my nature, like how this works.
So what do you mean by an exception? Because you're already together, kind of thing?
No. So this is how it happened, right? I don't know if it was the first or second time. Yes, actually, it was the first time we went to Vancouver. Right, so that time I went with you. And Chris,
you're in her space.
Exactly. So that first time I went to Vancouver with you and Chris is also when I met Jamie for the first time, right? And we had to we didn't stay at her place long because she was living with her mom. We did not stay at her place long.
Yeah.
I think we just went to go grab something, right? And she's like, "Oh, come and say hi to my mom." I was like, "Cool." Go on in. I said, "What's it to her mom?" And she's like, "Oh, just go get something from my room." She's like, "Yeah, come." And she'll tell you this, bro. Like,
yeah,
I walked into the room,
Her bedroom.
and it was so messy, bro. Like, she just had clothes. Like
a kid's room.
I've almost burned the image out of my mind, like, because I just remember the feeling of in that moment when I saw her place it.
You're mad.
I was mad. I was like, and you know why I was
You're like,
mad?
I hate this.
You know why I was mad? Like, I've actually never been with anyone
who's been messy.
But the reason why messiness irks me is because I grew up in a Caribbean household.
There's discipline.
Every weekend, I'd have to clean. I'd have to do these things.
You're like, are your parents not saying anything?
So the difference, and another difference is, she grew up as a single sibling for most of her life, whereas me, I had other siblings. It was like kind of the role. You gotta go vacuum this. I'll do the kitchen. It was divided. So when I saw the messiness, it was like, yo, this is crazy.
You're like, there's no way I can get away with this.
I'm like, this is actually nuts. But I think where the exception came into my head in that moment was, I'm like, well, I'm going back to Toronto. Like, I don't have to see it.
This ain't my house.
I was like, this is my house. I don't have to see this.
I don't have to see this.
I don't have to see this. Like, if I was living in Vancouver, Jamie, I'm telling you right now,
you're cleaning your room. You're cleaning your room.
You're cleaning your room. Like, that's. I don't care what the rest of your house look like. Your room's got to be spotless. So I'm coming in there. So fast forward a couple months of us, like, dating and talking, going back and forth. She decides, I'm going to move to Toronto, right? And we're thinking about getting a place. The entire time that we're getting this place, you're
remembering that time?
I'm having like hot flashes, like remembering.
Is she going to trash this place?
And I don't even want to. I don't want to make my girl sound like a raccoon, like just trashing the place. You know what I mean?
The raccoon.
I don't want to make her sound like this because she's not. Like, she's way better than she was before. But trust me, bro. Like, and the problem is with messy people, it's learned behavior. Yeah. That's what it is. Like,
her mom's probably not stopping her.
But it's not even just that. Like, people who get the freedom to just be messy, it's so hard to break that. It's so hard to get on top of them and be like, yo, clean the dishes. Because then they look at you like you're an asshole.
Like, what you talking about?
You know what I mean?
I never do.
So that was the only time I've ever made an exception.
On cleanliness.
But I can honestly say that if Jamie was like living in Toronto, let's say she was living in Toronto and I went over to her place and it was messy,
you probably wouldn't still be talking.
There's a high chance.
No, I know what you mean.
There's
like,
a high chance.
It's only because you're like, you know what? This is temporary right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back. I probably won't be coming back here.
She might disagree with me, but I firmly believe that the only reason like her habits are not the same is because she's with me right now.
Well, I mean, she's trying to keep a standard now.
You know what I mean? But
I'm sure.
The thing is, I haven't.
And if you're not a messy person, so it's like, it almost feels out of place to be messy.
I know.
Like, if you're that person, like,
you know what it is? There's, as you said before, sometimes you do your laundry and you don't like do it right away. You just pile it up. Yeah. We all do that. Like, I do that too. But there's definitely levels to the shit. And I definitely didn't. I've never actually looked at Jamie and said, from the jump, I never said, yo, you're fucking messy, eh? Like, I've never had this conversation. But there have been times where I've told her, like, after the facts, where I was like, yo, just so you know, like, when I first met you, your place was wild. Like, it was crazy. Like, because I could joke about that in the future. But that was the only time I ever made an exception. Only time.
Have I made an exception?
I can already see this.
My brain is like, okay. So, I typically go for more educated women. I don't want it to sound crazy, but there's no other way to phrase this. But I typically go for educated women. I'm a very intellectual person.
Okay.
I'm a very articulate person. So I do well with intellectual and articulate women. You know, business-minded, focused, list goes on. But I have dated, you know, individual that wasn't necessarily sharp. you know? So that was my exception because I would constantly catch myself maybe say something and she'd be like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah. And like I started to get used to just like explaining it, but I knew I didn't like that. Especially like, it's not like I'm saying like, you know, rocket science stuff. It's just like there might be a simple term or a simple like phrase or a word, a quote unquote big word. Like what are big words? We're fucking grown people. Yeah. But I mean, you know, like a big word. I use different words. I don't use common words that people use every day. So I would say a word that normally I might say to you and you'd be like, you wouldn't question the word. You'd be like, got it. We keep talking.
Yeah, just keep talking.
I would say the word and she'd be like, what's that? And I'd be like, huh?
You know,
like,
let me just quickly say something here.
Huh?
You know how deflating it is in a moment,
bro.
Where you could be having you could say something really profound or be having a nice conversation with someone, and you say something, you're like, oh, that was a sick statement, and the first thing they respond with was, what does that mean? Like, what does that word mean? You're like, oh,
it just
now everything I just said is out the window.
Now I gotta, okay, let me just, the cat jumped
Stop it.
over the desk.
Stop it. You haven't, you there's no way that you,
no, they're not stupid, but
they're not dumb. Like,
but it's definitely like deflating because you're like, you want the conversation to go when like you say something, I say something, and we're just going back at it and we're just like, yo, this is amazing. And then when you say something, you're just like, yo, and right? And they're like, no, I don't understand. And you're like, oh, okay. At what point did you stop understanding? Like now,
how far back do I have to go?
Because that's also the problem, right? Like when you're talking to someone that's not necessarily like as, you know, intellectual as you, they might not like in most cases they're usually embarrassed or in most cases, or they're intimidated in some way. Yeah. So they won't even actually speak up until it's like at a point where they're like they really don't understand. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they'll try and follow as best as they can until it's like, okay, I really have no idea what he's talking about, so now I'll speak up. Yeah. Which means like they really could have been trailed off. Like they could have been trailed off for a while, but they're just like, yeah. And like, so now I'm like, what did you actually get from what I've said so far? Am I talking to myself? Like, and then it just feels, and then the hardest part is like trying not to come off as an asshole to be like, okay, so what I'm trying, like, it's very difficult for me. I'm literally admitting it is difficult for me to dumb myself down for certain individuals. If it's a partner, if it's just a person, a client or whatever, like whatever. I'll explain things in layman terms if I have to. Even that phrase in layman terms, most people don't even know what that, like me saying. Yeah. Like I'm saying it to you know exactly what I'm talking about, but the phrase I'll explain in layman terms, they might even be like, what are layman terms? Like, oh, like now where are we? Like I can't even explain it in layman terms. Like now we're, so it's like, yeah, like I definitely struggle with dumbing myself down with certain people. It's something that I know I'm challenged with, and it's not something I want to do. And I genuinely would rather not have to do that with certain people. Yeah. So that is definitely a write-off that I have made an exception for, because I have still dated certain people where I've been like, I know that they're not at that level, but I'm like, but other things are good and I'm happy and this, but the way life works, everything comes full circle. And like, if something bothers you at the beginning, it will bother you at the end. And even though you can make things work on the other stuff, it's like that will still continue to bother you. And then when you have arguments or debates, and now it's even worse when you're upset. It's worse if I'm upset.
How so?
If I'm trying to argue with big words and they're not even getting me in the art, like, now what? Now I don't want to explain shit. Yeah. Now I just really feel like saying, you know shit. You're fucking stupid. Like, now you just want to say that, but you can't. Yeah. But like, now you're even more frustrated because I'm like, I can't even argue with you. I can't even argue in big words. Like, I can't even be mad in peace without explaining this shit to you. Yeah. So I know I sound like an asshole, but I mean, I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, I just avoid it altogether.
What's another one we got?
Leftover. No, it's fine.
Oh, my boy Irfan from the gym. He said, "Victim mentality is zero patience." He's got zero patience for anyone that plays the victim all the time, and he said also energy, and more energy. So the reason he's saying this is because we were talking about where we're at in life right now and just your interactions with people, and he was basically saying that I can't remember if it was you I said it to or someone else, but I think he's like a big fan of Burna Boy, right? And he was like, listen to an interview with him, and Burna said that if you really think about it, at least 90% of the problems you have going on in your life right now aren't actually your problems. It's just you annoyed with other people's like choices, or you're annoyed with their problems, and they've made it yours somehow, right?
True.
And it's like a very true statement. And then he was talking about Earth was talking about energy, right? And what he was saying was that he's at a point where he just really does not like it when people disturb his energy, because what happens is when you meet new people or you have these friends that you've known for over a decade, whether or not over time they might do some shit that annoys you or whatever, you know how to vibe with each other, right? And I think when you're younger, it's easier for you to, like, speaking from a guy's perspective, it's a lot easier for me to meet a woman who I know is probably not the best for me in terms of energy wise. Like she just too much problem, like too much drama. It's easier for me to meet her when I'm younger because my mind is somewhere else. I'm probably thinking like, whatever, she's good looking. Like when we are cool, we have a lot of fun. You know what I mean?
We're good.
That's what it is. But as you get
the biggest lie we tell ourselves.
Exactly, biggest lie. But as you get older, the moment you sense just bad energy from someone, you're like, I don't off it. Yep. And it's like at this age, it's not often that I'm actually making new friends. I make a lot of new acquaintances.
Yeah. But you're not bringing people into your circle.
I'm really not.
As a new person. Hey guys, this is welcome to the crew.
It's hard.
What?
It's hard.
Imagine one of us dropping a new friend in that group we have.
On this the IG group?
Imagine one of us just drop a new man in there. Not even a man that like we've already known, just like a new man. Imagine you just dropped a new man in the group chat.
That new man would feel so alienated. He'd be like, what am I doing here?
What are we talking about here?
He's like, what am I doing here?
Like, how do I catch you up on everything?
You can't. Anytime we make references, he's like, what? Like, someone explain it, please.
Nah.
Can't.
You can't.
So, I mean, the energy is a big, big thing.
Drake ain't lied.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ain't never lied.
Ellis Demenis. Oh, he's a long time listener too. He said, they never hit you up or initiate conversation wanting to meet. Always you doing it.
Sounds very personal. These personal attacks are coming.
But you know
out.
what? Like that one. Yeah, like once again, I've never
read that one again.
So they never hit you up or initiate conversation / wanting to meet. Always you doing it.
She doesn't like you.
It's either no, but here's the thing. It's either that or some girls
or just wait.
Yeah, some girls genuinely like to play games like this.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Some girls genuinely like to play games. I'm not gonna message them first, but
ever?
They won't do it.
Ever?
Yes. Absolutely.
I don't know.
At
this age?
I've talked to women who are our age who have told me that they do this.
That they'll never message first?
They're like, I'm not messaging him first. What are you talking about?
Ever? That's wild.
It is wild.
Grow up.
But girls do this stuff.
Grow up. What?
They definitely do. Yeah. Chris Lowe, she says kindness. If you aren't kind, it ain't gonna work. And I don't mean nice. Nice and kind are two different things. Very true.
Define nice and kind in your opinion.
I feel like nice.
When someone says nice guys finish last, do they mean kind guys finish last?
No.
So
why? This is why I think this.
Why?
I think nice
kind guys finish last.
Yeah.
Do they too though?
I don't know. I
actually don't think kind guys finish last.
I know, but hear me out. Let
Go
me
ahead.
explain my thinking behind it, and we'll see yours.
Nice guys do.
So, so when I think of nice, I'm thinking more so of actions.
Manipulative.
Huh?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Manipulative? No,
manipulative.
no. Like those are just actions that you do. I can be I can be truthfully an asshole, but I can fucking walk an old lady across the street. That's nice.
Manipulative is basically what I just said.
Like,
manipulative.
pretty much,
Basically,
yes.
guys who put on actions.
Yes,
I
think you can do nice things, like genuinely. I think that can be without an act. I think you can do those things, but I definitely think that to be kind, it's like an intrinsic behavior within you.
innate.
It's innate. Like you're just, that dude's so. Like, whenever you hear someone say, "Oh, that's such a kind dude," you know they're being very genuine. No one ever says he's such a nice guy. If they say he's such a nice guy, that's code for something else. Like,
Okay, who would you say?
so when you ask a girl about some man, like you know a man, right? And
He's so nice.
he was nice.
He wants to fuck.
He was nice.
He wants to fuck.
Yeah,
He's trying to fuck. What are you talking about? He's trying to fuck.
he's trying to fuck. That's all he wants
Stop
to do.
it.
I don't know, but he was so nice.
Because he's trying to fuck.
How many times? Yo,
He's so nice.
how many times have you
My
heard
God.
women say this?
Because he's trying to fuck. That's it.
So many times women have said to me, "Oh, but he
Or
he was
the
so
ones
nice."
or the ones who are like, oh, I met this guy at the grocery store today. He was so nice. He doesn't fucking know you. Why is he nice?
He just met you.
He's trying to fuck.
He just met you. You just met him. How do you know he's so nice?
Go, go ahead. Oh my God, thank you. He just wants to see your ass. That's what it is. If a man lets you go ahead, he's trying to see your ass.
That's
said
terrible. That's terrible.
I said it.
That's terrible.
Like any man who's like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. He's staring. Perverts.
So what's your definition between the two?
Kind of nice. I would say nice. Nice is definitely. I definitely would also associate with behaviors, but kind is also behaviors as well. That's why it's a little bit confusing. But I would say nice is typically, actions that people do to please other people. I think someone who's nice does certain things to meet someone else's needs. So because I know you like this, I'm gonna do this, which makes you a nice person. Because I know Zamora, likes candy or kiwi juice, I'm gonna bring a candy or kiwi juice next time. I don't necessarily really feel like doing it.
Yeah, that's not kind. That's just nice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really feel like doing it, but I'm here. Whatever. I know he likes it. Cool. You do. I feel like kind, in terms of if you could do in terms of gestures, is trying to do something to help, or trying to do something to make someone's life easier, or try to do something that benefit someone more than yourself, that you don't gain.
Yeah. Like,
there's zero gain for you. There's zero reward for you. You're just doing these because you're like, this feels normal to me. Like, you need help. I see dishes in your sink, or if I have some time, I'm like, yo, I'll do this. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean you're doing the dishes? No, the dish in the sink. You're busy. Like, stuff that it just seems like, why are you doing this? It's like, you're busy.
Yeah, like that. Like, that's the response I'm trying to say. When someone is kind and they do things that are nice, the person who's receiving that kind gesture, they're thinking, yo, like, why?
It's almost confusing.
It's confusing, right? But when someone just does something nice, sometimes it gets brushed off.
You're kind of like, oh, thanks. Like,
oh, thanks, appreciate that.
But you don't actually acknowledge it as like a big deal per se. Let's say.
I can agree with that.
I think if you're confused, then someone's kind. And I think you're confused because there's not a lot of kind people. So it's almost uncommon to you, which is why the confusion comes in. Like, for your response to be confusion, it's because you're not used to it.
Yeah. Fucking breaking news on Twitter.
What?
Fucking Cardi just filed for divorce.
From Offset?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, she filed for divorce based on following rumors of his infidelity after 3 years of marriage. I think this is
doing this again.
Yeah, I think this is a case of.
But I mean, I don't want to say it, but I mean,
I just don't think they should got married in the first place.
Like, I mean, no, I'm not gonna say that. That's a little wild.
Why?
You don't think they can't?
You don't think he wasn't fooling around back then?
No, but I mean, like, everyone deserves happiness. Anyone can get married. People get married for much less.
No, but this is the problem though. I think when it comes to marriage, I just think people get married for the wrong reason.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they had their child before they got married or after. It's almost irrelevant.
Yes, I think she might have been pregnant already.
Yeah, it's almost irrelevant. I just think that sometimes people would be better off if they were really honest about what
they're looking for
in the future. Like because we're conditioned as a society to think, okay,
get married, have a house, have a family.
You meet someone you date for X amount of years or however long, you get married and that's it. You have kids. I think society for a lot of people would be a lot better if it was normalized to just say, I actually don't want to get married to you. I don't want to be tied down to marriage. I want to keep
you around.
But I would love to continue this partnership in whatever way that looks like. Maybe basically what I'm describing for some people, it might be like being poly. It might be, but it might not be fully sexual. You know what I'm saying? It's just
I wouldn't even take it to poly. I think like I've had this conversation with my close friends and my cousins many times, and like every time I make men and female statements, everyone comes at me, but I'm gonna make general statements for the majority of such and such. For the majority of men, I do believe there are a portion of men that love marriage and they're cool. I'm not saying they don't exist, but for the majority of men, marriage is a woman thing. Marriage is something that women typically, not all, but women typically look forward to more than men. Men love, exploring. We're explorative creatures and horny people and love many different things and different women and it's a lot more common, for men to, wander or flirt or whatever. Even if it's playful, it's just women don't like that. Period. They don't want you to. I don't want you to flirt. If you're my man, no looking, no flirting. Like it's just it becomes so controlling because of how bad men treat women. Yeah. Right. So women overcompensate when they get in relationships. They're like, I don't want my man doing this. I don't want you going here. It's because like they're almost trying to like prevent themselves from being hurt. By overcompensating on men's just natural responses to females. And for a large portion of men, including myself sometimes, when I was even now, like I'm still kind of navigating myself now, but if there was a normalized world where you can have your rider, your girlfriend, this is my wife, my girlfriend, or whatever you want to call her, my partner, we do things together, we have a family together, we have a life together, where having sex and traveling and our families are great, whatever, but on the off chance that there's a cute thing or a cute girl that like I'm not with you and I have some free time and I connect with that girl and it doesn't affect my marriage or my family, like you wouldn't get mad at it, and it wouldn't even be like I'm gonna start building a relationship with her. I don't want a relationship. I don't want nothing. I want my family, I want my wife, my blah blah blah. But if we had a normalized society where it's like, if my wife was actually okay with like, if the off, and it's not even like it would even happen like enough. It'd just be like on the off chance that like a random beautiful girl comes and have the opportunity and we click and she's like, do you want to have sex? And it's like, I mean, as long as my wife's okay with it, like it's not like, and not for all, again, like there are men that are like, I don't want no other woman, only my wife. Sure, they fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I would definitely say for myself and for a majority of men that, if we really are faithful, and so devoted to our women, for the women, we don't want to hurt them. We want to do what we can to keep a relationship together, and we respect them, and we know that if we did do these things, it would hurt the women. Not because we genuinely like, I don't want to touch another woman in this spot. Like it's not. That's like if we're being completely raw. That is not true. No, like we're doing it because we care about the person so much more than our own feelings and our own urges. That's the honest fucking truth. You know what I mean? Like We care about our partner so much more than our own personal urges and feelings that were like, we put aside these feelings, emotions, thoughts, whatever, for the sake of our partner and keeping our partner happy because we care about them so much. But it takes a certain person for us to even do that for.
Yeah.
And when we meet that person, we're like, you know what? Fine, I'll sacrifice these thoughts. I'll sacrifice these moments. I could get that girl if I wanted to, but I won't because I love this girl and so on and so forth. But it's not because we don't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I think this is something that, I just think over time it's one of those things that people, as they get older, start to understand more and more because, there's definitely a lot of truth to that. I think a lot of, I've talked to a lot of men who have just said, like, even the idea behind sleeping with another woman and not attaching any feelings to it whatsoever. It's like, I could sleep with another woman and I wouldn't feel some type of way. I enjoy that time and then just move on. I've met more men who are like that than women, for example. Not to say that they're
not the, we have to keep. I don't want to even keep starting. Like, I catch myself continually doing this, but when we say things, yes, yes, sure, not you, fine. Like, but
you know what though? Like, here's the thing, right? I've actually met more women in my life who, or even in passing, who are like the type of person you're describing, openly, than I have men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've actually met more women who have said, yeah, this is like the setup that I have right now in my life. Like, I have got my partner, I've got my man. Sometimes, like, I might see someone else, he might see someone else, that kind of thing. Even if they don't see anyone, they just decided, like, we're not getting married. Don't like the idea of married. We might just go as far as common law. We're not getting married. I've heard those conversations more from women, and I don't know if it's because
men won't talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that most men won't talk about. Like, in the sense of even just talking to potential women that you're seeing. You know how
it'll almost scare them off.
Yeah, like
you feel like you'd be like, I can't really tell someone I really feel like this because what if in most cases that will scare them off. They'd be like, so you don't want to get married?
Yeah. And this is the thing too. I feel like when a woman has that conversation with a man, because of how a lot of us naturally think, a lot of men will go, oh, okay, that's cool. That's fine, we'll do that. But then some of those men actually really haven't taken the time to think all the way through
what that really means.
What that really means.
Like her too, right?
Yeah, and then when
it's not just you.
And then when that happens, they're like, now they have a problem with it. Yeah. So that's why I go back to saying, when it comes to the whole marriage thing, I think if people were really honest with themselves, like super, super honest about whether or not they really believe marriage is for them, or if they would rather just be single and have like a person there, or whatever that looks like, whatever you want to call it. But most people aren't having a real conversation with themselves. They're really not. Like, most people aren't actually saying, this is absolutely 100% what I want.
Does anyone ever know 100% what they want? Ever being honest? 100%? I don't think anyone ever knows.
I think like at least, no, fine, I'll be conservative. I'll say 95%. 95, because even that small 5% no one ever very ambiguous. Like, you never know. Of course,
nobody ever knows. Like, yeah, I absolutely want this. You don't even know. You don't even know that about your current girlfriend, wife, husband.
But what I'm saying is about, forget current girlfriend, wife. I'm talking about. The thought
of marriage.
I know that I want to get married. You don't know that 100%. You don't know.
No, you don't. So, on this question, you don't have to name names. I would never do. Do you know more than 5 people who are married? Men. More than 5 married friends?
Okay, like close friends, or
close enough that you know they're, you know what they kind of like.
In my life right now, I know, like, close enough that I could just talk to them anytime. I know like 2.
Okay. So of the 2 that are married, I know more than 5, but I'm older than you, man. I know a lot. And all my friends are getting married now at this age. But
one of them, ironically, was your cousin. That's not that I thought of.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So of the people I know that are married, and people I know of who are married and so on and so forth. It's a very, 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 very common theme that they feel trapped.
My God, you just put these mans on blast?
You know who these mans are. It doesn't matter. Like, no, but it's like,
you know who they are. It doesn't matter.
you don't know who they are. I'm just telling you, there's married men I know that feel trapped.
Yeah.
All the wives that I know, you guys go check your men. Like, no, it's not like you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But a lot of them feel trapped, and trapped not in the sense where like I made a mistake, blah blah blah. Just trapped where it's like they got married, and like anything, like anything new wears off. It's just we're fucking human. Okay. It's like,
but this is the thing. I don't think it's a matter of. Okay, for some men, it might be anything new wears off. I got tired of my wife, right?
No. I don't. No. I'm not going that direction. I don't mean tired of your wife. That's why.
Well, I definitely think that there's 100% men out there like that.
No, there are definitely men tired of their wives already. Yeah. No, I mean anything new wears off in the sense where it's like the concept of marriage is new, the excitement of marriage is new, and then the work and the commitment and the sacrifice and everything that comes after marriage, that lingers. Yeah. Not the I'm married feeling. Eventually you get used to anything. I mean, like, nobody can really prepare for marriage anymore. Like, yeah, as much as you're like, yeah, I love my wife, I love my husband, you know, I know it's gonna be work, I know this, everyone knows, blah blah. But when you actually get into, and I'm not married, I'm not speaking from experience, I'm just speaking from just being a human. Like, no one really knows, but from experience and what I've heard, it's like when you're married, that's it. And yes, divorce is there, but nobody really wants a divorce. You know what I'm saying? And no one really gets married to divorce. So for the most part, most people feel like if you're married, that's it. Like, yeah, the divorce option's there, but it really isn't. Like, it really is. Like, it's there, but
the reason honestly, bro, the reason I'm laughing is because I know that there are men in relationships right now.
Marriages or relationships?
Relationships, not marriages. I know there are men in relationships right now who would hear this conversation and in their head they're agreeing with us, but they would never ever
out loud
say this shit. Because the thing,
they're not. They wouldn't.
And this is the thing. I've never been married, and I understand the idea of they feel trapped after being in the relationship. Like, it's not you feel, because the reality is you can leave anytime.
Of course.
But when the word trapped sounds so aggressive, but it's not as serious as we're making it sound.
It's not jail. Yeah. It's just, you're emotionally trapped. You're emotionally wounded up. Like, you're emotionally binded. Like, once you give so much, you're like, how? Like, you can leave, but how? How can I leave now? And to do what? Yeah. And to start over, and to get married again, and to do this, like, all these thoughts, these natural thoughts of you, like, people end up doing more things because of the fear of doing it again. Yeah. Than actually doing, like, actually making decisions. Like, we end up following through with decisions solely because we don't want to make certain decisions again, that we end up just going along with things, not because we actually want to. Yeah. Especially when it comes to relationships. Men stay, women stay because they're like, do I really, like, as hard as this is, as stressful as this is, blah blah blah, it's most likely, not always, but most likely gonna get here again with someone else anyway. At some point, like, at some point. Like, and I think that's probably the most rational thought process I've started to get through my head, is that, like, like, some relationships are better than others, of course, and that's the good part, that's the easy part. But the tough parts, you're gonna get to a tough part regardless of who you're with. Like, it's not like, oh, this is tough, I want to break up. It's like, cool, you break up today, you meet someone else who's gonna be great. You will get to this point, it'll be different, maybe not the exact same thing, just something else, but you'll get to this exact point again with someone else. So is it really worth, like, because you're mad or frustrated, like tossing it to try and start over again just for that to feel good for a little bit and get to the exact same point 5 years later with someone else, just different? Like, you can't run from this. That is what relationship is. It is that moment of getting past that frustration, getting past that disconnect, disagreement with, like, it's gonna be with everybody, everyone, just different. So like running from it, I've caught myself like, oh, I'm just tired of this girl, I break up. Oh, this girl didn't do this, I break up. This, like, and valid reasons at those moments. And you know, when I did it, I felt right, and I'm glad I did it to the point I'm at now. But when I look back, it's like everyone had something. So, you know, it and the girl I'm with right now, like, she's amazing, and I'm sure she'll still be amazing. But I know it's coming. There's something, and when it comes, I'm gonna have to process it like the same and deal with it, and only because, you know, I feel more content and more confident with her, that I think it'll be easier to get through it than prior relationships. But it's still gonna come.
Yeah, it's part of every.
It's going to come. You can't run from it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, but I think that trap feeling that these husbands are talking about is that, like, it might be a hot take, but I really don't think men get married for them.
You know what I think would solve a lot of these problems? Because once again, we're not talking about all men.
Of course not.
But I think that the easiest way to solve this is if men got married later in life. Because I really think, like, sometimes I have to question myself. I remember going on Facebook and seeing men that I knew from, like, university getting married at like 22.
In their 20s.
In their 20s. I cannot process it. I actually can't. Like, and I know, look, I understand that for some people, it just works. Like, this is my relationship. This is my partner. I found them. This is who I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. Cool. I still don't think you should be my brain just says don't get fucking married in your early 20s. I don't know why. It just says this because it does not make sense to me. There's so many things that you haven't done. I'm not even talking about dating and seeing what you don't even fully know yourself. How do you know that I'm supposed to be getting married at this age? You think I'm supposed to get married because you found someone that you love, right? And this person loves you back. They've confirmed that you want to get married. Cool.
So fall in love and keep growing. Fall in love and keep growing and build the love. Love doesn't mean marriage.
And you know,
love does not mean marriage.
I know.
And podcast name, by the way.
And this is the problem, right? Because I think for some of us, a lot of it also depends on what type of marriage you grew up around. Right? Like, for me, when I think about, you know, the earliest marriage that I ever saw was my parents, right? And I've seen a whole progression of it. So that definitely shapes your mentality on what a person thinks marriage should look like or be like.
You're gonna compare it to what you see,
dude. It's rare that I've ever.
How do you compare it to something else?
I've never met anyone who has parents with a very successful marriage, they've been together for years, all this type of stuff. I never met a person who has that and then has said,
not me,
I don't want to get married. I've never seen that. I've seen people who, you know, have had families where parents got divorced and then they've said the opposite. They're like, I know I don't want that. Right?
Or I want to get married so I don't have to deal with that.
So I don't have to deal with that.
Yep.
Like, I've seen it plays a giant role.
Absolutely.
on how
influence.
You think. It's a big influence. So I you know, I've had, and this is the thing when I said before, you need to have these conversations. You need to actually really have these conversations with people, because I don't even think it might have been this year Jamie and I had the conversation about marriage, right? And when she explained what she wants, I was like, yo, that's actually kind of lit. Like, I think
like the type of marriage or type of wedding.
Like, I think she basically says she doesn't want
like the wedding. itself or the marriage?
Yeah, I don't think I don't. She's like, I want the ring, but I don't want like
a big wedding.
I don't want a big wedding. I just want something small. My friends and our friends. But even on paper, I think it's basically common law, bro. I could be wrong, Jamie. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but it's essentially something like that, right? Because, I even there's like multiple reasons why, but at the end of the day, it's just like, yo, I want you to be my person. I don't like marriage. You know what I mean? And she grew up single parents household, but very cool with both her parents. So I'm sure that
that's definitely influenced her.
That definitely influenced her, right? And it's weird for me. I saw the full progression. My parents were together. They're going through a rough patch, and they like might get divorced, right?
So now you're like,
so for me, like, in my head, I'm thinking,
do I need marriage either? Personally, like,
I'm like, do I necessarily need the title of marriage? But I know that I definitely want a person. So it's like, I just have to know, is that person in the line?
What works for us?
What works for us?
Who's the marriage for?
I personally, is
it for your friends and family?
It might be. It could.
Like generally speaking, is marriage for the experience of friends and family to support your relationship, or is marriage really like me and my partner, all things considered, zero out everybody? You and I both want to have a dress and suit and ting and honeymoon. Like, you and I both want to have this, or is this the event of celebrating our relationship for our friends and family? I think it's majority the latter.
Yeah.
I think it's majority people are getting married, which isn't a bad thing. I just mean, like, I think the real, and especially because I shoot so many weddings, I think, like, when I've been witnessing and watching, I think the real nitty gritty of it is people really are getting married because for the family and friends.
To your point, at most of these shoots that I've been on with you for these weddings, typically it's the surrounding party that's getting more hype than the married couple.
Of course. The married couple looks miserable. They're just going smile, photo.
Dog, they're exhausted.
You're miserable.
They're exhausted.
You're miserable.
They're absolutely. Why do you think
You're shooting fucking 1,000 photos all day, smiling with every group of family and friends possible at the fucking place, and everyone diving to get a photo with you and pulling you left and right, cling, kiss. Like, I'm fried. Like, as a groom and bride, you're fried. And you've been planning all night long. You probably didn't sleep the night before.
Yeah.
You've been up, making sure everything's on time, talking to your wedding planner for weeks. You're fried.
Another thing,
you're fried.
This is a side note. I'm also not fucking having anyone at my wedding or whatever it looks like, whether it's just, I just rent out a restaurant and everyone just comes. I'm not having anyone there that I actually don't know or talk to on a regular basis.
Don't pull up.
I don't even care if you're related to me. If I actually don't show up. I'm not gonna invite you, because too many times at these weddings, that's how you know it's for other people. I see people at the wedding and I'm like, oh, like, how do you know the bride or groom? And it's like, oh, I'm like his third cousin from like years ago. We barely talk. You know what I mean? It's
just
like,
showed up.
Why are you here?
Yam food and drink. It's terrible. So like I like, it's sad, but like, shooting these weddings and seeing these things, you really see like these couples are miserable, and it's like the wedding is so long and it gets dragged out so long that like you can tell by looking at them they just want the day to be over, and like that's crazy. For your own wedding, you just want it to be over.
Yeah, that's bad.
You're at the table just like, yo, oh, picture. You have to get up again. Picture. Can I just chill with my wife today?
Just for a little bit.
Like, you just got married, and now for the next 7 hours, you're gonna be taking photo ops. Think about the concept of that. You just got married to your person. You guys are both happily married, got rings, blah blah.
And they gotta go through all this shit for
all day,
like 12 hours.
12 hours.
It's a marathon.
To get home and crash, probably won't even slap. You probably won't have energy to have sex at night because you both are just washed. They're just like, babe, good night. And she's like, yup. Like, first married night, you guys are fried. Like, Matt, like, I can't, like, I've never been at home when these guys get home, but I'm just assuming, like, night ends, you guys get home and you're just like, night, baby. Night, husband, night, wife.
Part of me,
gone to bed.
Part of me feels like after shooting an entire day at a wedding and seeing the bride and groom and all this type of stuff, Yeah, sometimes I think, yo, after the wedding's done, they just go home and sleep.
They're done.
I don't even think they have. Sometimes I'm like, there's
no way you're fucking tonight. You're done.
You're too tired to have sex. Come on. Let's be real with yourself. You're too tired. There's no way you're having sex. Absolutely not. You'll have sex in the morning for sure.
Yeah, but like
tonight, no, let me go to bed.
You would think your first night married, like, let's have some great sex. Is like, nah, I'm washed. Good night, baby. Like, my feet are done. My cheeks hurt.
Yo, I actually don't care if I sound like an old man for talking about this, but I really feel this way.
I'm serious.
I really feel this way. In today's day and age, I'm tired after shooting for like 5 hours. Like, I'm done.
I'm finished.
I'm done. You expect me to be up at 6 a.m. prepping for my wedding? You expect my girl to be up at 6 a.m. prepping for a wedding, have people putting makeup all over her face, taking photos constantly, travel here, travel there, travel here, take photos again.
All day.
Photos again. And then you expect me to go to my
1 a.m. at night.
1 a.m. at night to go to my wife at that point and be like, hey, let's have some sex. You know what she's gonna do? She's gonna look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Have you not seen what we did?
Let's have some sex. She'll look at you and be like, if I don't fucking whip this ring in the sink right now, like,
yo, I've been up since 6 a.m. That's what you're gonna say. I've been up since 6 a.m.
Because the woman is ready before the man. She's been up.
The last thing she wants is somebody to be pressing up against her at 1 a.m.
Finished.
She needs to sleep.
Yeah. And then they have the honeymoon and blah, blah, blah. Cool. But yeah, marriage is definitely, in my opinion, is for the family and friends. It's to share that experience, to make you guys enjoy our relationship. You guys have a great night out of this. In most cases, your night's better than our night.
You guys go home after eating all the time, drinking. You know how many? Oh my god! Anytime I go to an open bar wedding, this shit's crazy.
You guys had a better night at my wedding than me. Imagine, I got married and you left. Yo, wedding was turned. What do you mean it was turned? It was my wedding. What are you talking? This isn't a club. This is not a club. Why did you treat my wedding like a club? Why did you come here and treat my wedding like a club? Why are you grinding on my bridesmaids? You're my uncle.
Dude, a wedding is a fucking job, bro.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like looking at politicians trying to campaign.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm watching the bride and groom get up and just be like, oh, so I gotta go talk.
They're literally pawns all day.
I gotta go talk to my aunt. She's like 92. She's gonna die soon. You know what I mean?
They're pawns all day. That is not an enjoyable day. It is not.
You know what? To play devil's advocate, just to be a little bit fair, I think where we're coming from has a lot to do
with our careers.
Our careers and the type of weddings that like we've seen.
Yeah.
So you definitely have, more than me, have experienced like very different kinds of weddings from different cultures and backgrounds. But I'll tell you this right now, like a lot of black weddings that I have been to are not as fun as some other cultures' weddings that I've been to.
I feel you.
I will be 1,000% real. And I don't, once again, I don't know if it has to do with, you know, who's setting the part, who's doing the planning for the wedding.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just our culture, right? Like, it doesn't mean that our weddings are not fun. Let's make that very clear, because our weddings are fun. But when I say that it feels like a campaign, the way I see people at our weddings,
it's because how family treats us.
Yes,
that's what it comes down to.
They're like, you didn't say hi to me.
That's what it comes down to. It's not that black weddings aren't fun. It's unfortunately how our family and friends treat black weddings.
Yes,
it's not us. It's not the groom and bride.
Yeah,
it's how family treats the groom and bride. How black families treat weddings. They treat it like it's their day.
Yeah,
like it's their day.
Yeah, that's really it.
Come take a picture of me.
Yo, and the reason
I didn't get mine.
And
what do you talk? You didn't get your picture. I didn't get my picture with the bride.
And the reason I know this is true is because of our careers. Because when you work these weddings as a photographer or videographer, you're constantly moving around the room. You hear conversations all the time. You hear what these people are saying when at their tables. sometimes you might hear some shit where you're like, yo, you don't even really fuck with the groom or the bride. You know what I mean? So you bring up a very good point. It's about how the families treat, you know, the bride and groom. And then I just can't help when I've been to an Indian wedding, I've been to a Greek wedding. Those things are like I've been to an Italian wedding. One of my best friends had
it's a legitimate party.
It feels like
a legitimate celebration. How it should
and
feel.
Then I look at the bride and groom, and yes, even though in those cultures, like, they're also very family oriented, they got to do the whole campaigning thing too. From the outside perspective, it doesn't look as stressful to me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look as stressful.
I definitely
I'm sure it
agree.
Probably still is for them, but it just doesn't look as stressful.
I definitely agree. And I'm not agreeing in I want a wedding. I want black weddings to be more enjoyable, but they literally feel like, and I've shot over almost 40 weddings now at this point in my career. Like, I've seen enough, and I've shot a lot of black weddings where it's like, it's just the family's just like, I don't know who needs to hear this or who I need to talk to, but for black weddings, it is the bride and the groom's day. Mm. You are the spectator. You are the guest. Mm. You don't own the bride and groom. You don't call them when you need them.
Yeah. The
wedding is not for the photos. Like, even though it's my career, like, I actually hate, and I'm starting to hate doing some weddings, and I've been slowly pulling out of some weddings because I'm like, I generally don't enjoy how much weddings have turned into just a photo op,
bro.
Like, it's like, you're like, are you actually here to, like, do you give a fuck if these guys divorce tomorrow? Like, do you actually give a fuck if they divorce tomorrow? If tonight they come home and you found out someone cheated on someone and they're over tomorrow, as long as you got your photo tonight, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And like, I can see it. They're pulling brides. They're pulling the groom. Come get me this. Come get my fit. Like, what?
Yo,
like,
and
what do we? What?
And that's very.
Don't even drop off money.
Yeah.
Don't even bring a gift. Just come eat food and dip. Like, what the fuck? Like, yo, like, it actually upsets me. I'm like, this is my culture. These are our people. And I'm like, you guys didn't even bring a gift to these guys. You just came, just nam food and cut. Like,
yeah.
And got your photo with them. What the fuck is this? Like,
that's actually true. Like,
what the fuck? Like, how many times have you been to weddings? I brought you to enough weddings. How many times you see people bring gift for nothing? Come get their photo, cut, and dip. Like, what the fuck is that?
It's actually mad true. I barely see anyone bring gifts.
It's gross, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, like, and why you're saying, like, Indian weddings, Italian weddings, Jewish, whatever, like, I'm not just saying this, I'm literally seeing cash on the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Cash at the table, gifts, envelopes, fucking bags and bags and bags in the corner. Like, I'm literally telling you it's different.
Because I know
they're treating them differently.
Because I can't remember which culture it is, but it's like they call it the wedding dowry or something. It's just the money accumulated.
African weddings drop money off too. By the way,
African weddings definitely do this. Definitely seen it too.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Seen bands drop.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, in some of the, I want to say it's either Indian or Italian, but it's like, you put the money, people bring money. That money literally just goes towards a down payment on the house.
On the house.
They're like, hey, we're here to celebrate you guys.
I think it's Jewish.
Yeah, we're here to celebrate you guys. Let's help you out. Move on.
Their gift is literally just bring money.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be for a marriage.
Like, we've paid for all of this.
Don't bring me no sneaker. No, bring cash.
Don't bring me no fucking microwave.
Bring cash.
Just bring me cash.
Put the cash in an envelope and this will go on our house.
Yeah.
You shouldn't get married and be worse off. You shouldn't leave your wedding and now you have to go pay for your house.
Yeah.
Out of your working money.
Yeah.
What?
If I have a big wedding and I invite all these people and you don't bring gifts, nothing.
And who paid for that wedding? You.
You guys didn't pay for it.
Who paid for the venue? You. So you're going to pay for the venue, pay for everyone's seat, everyone's food, catering, music, dance, blah. You're going to pay for this all the pocket, whether it's 10 to 20 grand, whatever you pay on that, plus your wife's ring, plus blah, blah, blah. And everyone comes there and yams food and cuts, and now you're down 20 racks and you need to buy a house together? What? That's disgusting.
Dude, when I send out my fucking invite for the wedding, whatever you want to call it, I'm literally just going to include that video of Dr. Umar Johnson. Just saying donations.
Yo.
Donations. That's all I want.
Like,
donations.
But that's literally what the wedding should be for. And that is my only argument. Like it should be celebrating the bride and groom, not a photo op for you to pull up and show off your fucking Louis belts and like what?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yo, cheesing me.
Like, marriage is a very touchy subject for us. We always, whenever it comes up on the podcast, we're just like, look, there's a lot of things we got to talk about with this shit. For real.
What was the thing you want to talk about again? There's Tiger Woods and black people.
Oh, okay.
And Naomi.
We'll try to make this quick, but basically, there's a video going around recently of Naomi Osaka after she won the U.S. Open. She won against Coco. I wish I could remember her last name, but you know, 2 black athletes at the top of the sport right now, and the video is great because in tennis they actually like the cameras get real close so you can hear what the athletes are saying. And Naomi was basically telling Coco, like, yo, you should go talk to the reporters right now. Because when they do the match interviews, they do it loud so everyone can hear.
Yeah, like in the speaker. Yeah.
They only really do that in the NBA if it's in the finals, right? Right after.
Where everyone can hear about it?
Everyone can hear.
Yeah.
Right? So
usually it's personal camera.
It's personal. So she's basically saying, like, look, you should go talk to them, let them know how you feel. It's important that you're there.
Was she saying because her fans are there? Or her family and stuff are there?
She said a bunch of people were there.
Like for her, like came to support her.
Yeah. She's like, you should go talk. And then Naomi then goes on to say in her interview how, you know, she remembers seeing Coco and her family at the same training centers as her at a young age. I think they're relatively close in age. And she just said, basically, it's crazy to see that we're both here now. And I think anyone that's black that sees that, they're thinking, yo, it's crazy that the only other black person I was seeing is here in the finals. Course. Right? So the argument or observation I noticed was basically Naomi is this, I can't remember what
she's mixed with?
Yeah, I know she's Japanese, but I don't know if she's also, like, if it's Trini, somewhere in the Caribbean. I don't know. Yeah. But she's half black, half Japanese. And
evidently.
Yeah, very evident,
yeah.
Right? And it's, you know, she identifies as black. She obviously honors and respects her Japanese culture, heritage, but she identifies as black. She wears her hair black. She does all these things. She's always been this way. And I couldn't help but just notice the difference in how she treats black culture versus someone like Tiger Woods, who also is black and Oriental, right? Because growing up, it was apparent that Tiger didn't claim his blackness.
Yeah.
Right? And that might be weird to people who aren't black listening to this, but we all knew that. Like, he didn't claim his blackness.
I mean, how many Dave Chappelle jokes are there already?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, he never claimed it. And it was funny because when he fucked up the incident, the media was like, oh, this black guy, blah, blah. They were very quick.
Wanting to use it.
They're very quick to remind you that you're black, right? So we're just, you know, you think about the impact in sports that they've both had. I think Tiger did a good job of making golf exciting, you know, where it may have made people in our community look at him or look at what he was doing in the sport and go, oh, okay, that's actually pretty cool.
I might try it.
Mm-hmm. But I think what Serena and Venus did for black women in tennis, and quite frankly, a lot of other sports, was realize, oh, there's actually a place for me here in this.
Yeah.
You know? Because Tiger always felt kind of like...
distant.
Out of just arm's reach. I know he's there. I see him. He looks kind of like me. But I feel like he's keeping me at distance a bit. I don't get that impression with these other women.
Yeah. And I think it also goes to being how vocal they are.
Yeah.
Like, Tiger's not that vocal. He comes to his games. He doesn't really say much about anything. He doesn't really. I mean, you know what? I could even compare him to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, he's also, you know, he's fully black, but he's also a very silent, you know, GOAT.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the greatest of all times, if not the greatest of all time, and very silent on any issue for that matter, right? And it's go ahead.
But I think so, and this is the problem, right? Some of the arguments that people will make are like, should these people, like, who said that these people have to say anything? Nobody. But I think.
But I'm referring solely to like giving people who look up to them some type of
but that's what I'm saying though, because those same people like Jordan, for example, I know that he's done a lot of stuff for the black community behind closed doors, right? With all the money that he's donated, all that type of stuff. But the problem with being, I shouldn't even say problem, it's just an observation about being black in society, whether it's now, in the past, present, future, whatever you want to call it, it's that being black in a space where you're not, the norm, you almost feel a responsibility to try and uphold yourself the best way that you can and also represent your people.
Right.
So when I see Serena and Venus where they're at and they're the only ones, I know they're obviously aware of that.
Yeah.
And they just took it upon themselves to say what they had to say, right? Because they definitely spoke about on issues. I think Jordan at the time is different because he's in a predominantly black league, so he feels. I think maybe he felt
someone else can do it.
Someone else can say it, but there's just this thing that I think a lot of black people who aren't at that part of society, the very top, the people in the bottom, I'm just gonna say, there's this innate thing that we all say to ourselves: why doesn't he say anything?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we almost thrust it upon them.
It's not his responsibility.
It's not his responsibility.
No.
But there's something inside of us that says, man, I wish he would say something. Because in our heads, we think the biggest people that look like us, if they say something, it actually means a lot more coming from them.
It's not that it means a lot more. It's so let's break it down as clear as possible. Racism exists, guys.
Yeah.
Limitations exist for black people. We obviously don't get the same, opportunities, and the list goes on. So black as a community, there's various levels of black, various cultures. But at the end of the day, we are all black to community. It doesn't matter if you're half black, quarter black, Jamaican.
Yeah, you're all black.
So what happens is when someone makes it, you make it for everybody.
That's what I'm saying. You
right?
It apart. Yeah, you're right.
And it's you don't actually get to choose, and that's what, like, when we're like, oh, like, how come this person not saying anything? How come this person not saying anything? It's like, well, no, you don't have to do anything, but you're also not acknowledging the now privilege that you have now received, getting to that level. That's a very small level to reach. There's, if anybody gonna reach the level of Michael Jordan in the game of sport, like of that type of renowned and level as a black individual, a black athlete, Michael Jordan. So yeah, it's not Michael Jordan's responsibility to say shit. You have to say, yeah, you did that, blah blah. But from a black community standpoint, it's like, you're right there. Like, like, it's literally like, yo, like, they're not listening to nobody down here. They're not. We march, we fucking scream, we cry, we fight. They're not listening to nobody down here. You're in the fucking room with, like, the guys, like, shoulder to shoulder, fucking Netflix docs. Like, you're there. You're exactly where everyone is trying to fucking get to. So we can say some shit, but we can't. It's capped for a lot of us. And you have uncapped yourself to the point that white people wear your shoes, Indian, God knows every fucking person wears your shit. You can walk into any room and everyone will fucking bow down to you, Michael. So no, it's not your responsibility. But as a black community, we're like, yo, you are right fucking there to make a fucking sentence right now. If you made a comment right now, the president would see it, the world would see it, and everyone worldwide would be like, Michael Jordan said this in seconds. Like, we don't have that. Like, we don't have that. We just don't have that.
And the problem is, I know that the reason why most of these people don't say anything when they're in that position,
it's money.
It's money, but it's because they know they're black and what will happen when they say something.
The fear
That's
fear?
what it is.
You're talking about the fear,
they like
the backlash.
I know for a fact, all these people in high up positions, whether it's Michael, Jay-Z, fucking Kanye, you name it.
They're still aware of their blackness.
They know that they're black, and they say, they could be thinking, I want to say this, but if I
am I going
do,
to crush myself?
it's going to torpedo certain parts of my career, my business ventures. They know this, so it's
almost like a self-sabotage.
So some of them are just like, I can't risk it. I can't make that risk. And it's hard. It's
a tough thing to kind of make someone do as well.
Yeah, no, it's very tough because we as the people who don't.
I get both sides. I get both sides. It's just
we as the people that don't have that big voice, we have to understand that I'm not in those rooms. I don't see how these people act. You know what I mean? I've come to realize that, like, this is something I've come to realize about life, right? As you move up the ladder, it becomes way less about your performance. In the beginning, to move up, it's all about how you do. They always evaluate you on your performance. What can you do for us? What did you do? But when you get to that area where you're kind of in the top, just about to approach it, or you're there, it doesn't matter what your performance is. It's like, okay, it's more so like, what have you done for me lately? How are you gonna make me more money? I don't care like what you're doing here. How are you gonna make me more money? You really think anyone in these big rooms is looking at someone like Jay-Z or Michael Jordan and saying, okay, you got to sell this many for us to have this next No, they're not having that conversation. I'm sure it might be in there. It's like, oh, we're making this many, you got to sell it. But that's not the focus of the conversation anymore. Their focus is, okay, how can you actually make us more money?
Now,
how can you do that? We know you're going to perform, but how are you going to do it?
Yeah. End goal.
And I think that's where their realities change. That's when the realities change for a lot of people, regardless of race, but it affects you differently when you're black.
Yeah.
You know, we're always being challenged in different ways. We're always judged against different metrics. But when you get to the top, I could only imagine what that fucking looks like. I couldn't imagine. I listen to fucking Joe Budden sometimes talking about how people trying to offer him like crazy amount of money and he just grew up with none. So he's just like,
sometimes you want to take it.
Sometimes you want to take it. And other times like, you're not offering me, like, that's not enough. It might not be enough, or what you're offering me doesn't mean shit to me because I grew up with nothing. Like, I understand what it's like to not have money. So you saying
you're not going to control me with a dollar.
You're not going to control me with a dollar.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think it also becomes a slap in the face because it's even worse when you find out what people are offering non-black people.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the more frustrating thing. And it's this common theme of like, well, you should be happy. Right? Like, there's this constant theme from people towards black people that you should be happy about them. Like, it's like, yeah, but there's someone doing the exact same amount of work I am doing, or sometimes in most cases less. Yeah. And they offer that person way more. Yeah. And that's a direct correlation with me being a black person. Well, I can't take this money and morally feel okay with myself.
This is exactly right. What you're explaining is exactly what Budden has been going off about, and his deal with Spotify about to end. Right? Because his whole argument is this podcasting wasn't a thing on Spotify till I came here. Yeah. When I came here, I basically built your business. The avenue. Yeah, I built your business. 9 figures, bro. That's how much money, like revenue, Spotify brings in for this shit. He's like, I built it. And now you guys are trying to offer me something that's far less than my value because what you're trying to offer me wouldn't be in existence if I wasn't here. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you're paying other people who don't outperform me. They don't outperform me, but you're paying them more. And what's the common theme here with these people?
They don't look like me.
They don't look like me. Right? They don't at all. So, look, people who aren't black that are listening to this, or people who are black who are listening to this, they may think that we might be being too skeptical about this type of stuff. We're being too harsh. But I'm sorry, like, I understand how the world works. Yeah. I really do. I'm not ignorant to any of this shit. Like, I understand how it works. Further you go, it's less about performance. What can you do for me now? And even when you can do what they need, there's still, for whatever reason, some sort of challenge that they put in your way. That's what being black is about. Trying to figure out how to navigate these constant challenges that are put in your way.
This is crazy. Like, listening to you is actually crazy because it's like, it never actually stops.
Oh,
it doesn't matter how much money you can come up tomorrow with 100 racks, 200 racks, and you're like, sick. I got 200 racks now. I can buy my house I wanted. I can get this. I can get this. It's just another level of challenges. Now it's getting your house. It's like,
it never.
No, listen. Now you have a house, or you're trying to get the house. It's like, oh, you don't qualify for this one though. Like think about these. You know what I'm saying? Like now you're like, oh fuck, I finally got the money I have to get this house. You try and get the house you really want. They're like, yeah, you don't qualify for that one though. But we have this one for you. No, but I want that one. Yeah. No. So like now you have more money, which you used to complain about.
Yeah.
But the problems still exist. They don't go away.
Dog,
the money doesn't solve this.
They never ever go away, bro.
The richest of the richest, the poorest of the poorest. We still have to fucking deal with this shit.
Bro.
And that's the most tiring thing.
Prime example, my parents have been renovating their house, right? Because they're getting ready to sell it. And my dad, my entire life, has been a broker and a real estate agent, right? Like insurance broker, real estate. He helps people sell homes for a living. Like he understands how this business works. And I went over to my parents' house to help my mom out with some shit. And she explained to me how when they're staging the house, they're staging in a way where you wouldn't know that black people live there.
What the fuck does that mean?
And I was like, why?
What does that mean though?
So you don't have like certain pieces of art up, like that type of
shit.
Like
removing all the look.
Yeah, you stage it. So when you stage,
I know what staging mean, but I mean like, what did you mean by it doesn't look like black people live there? Like just
so you wouldn't
removing
have
any cultural representation of
that, and the reason for that.
Wow.
There's literally studies right now
on the correlation of purchasers,
and videos have done it where, like, for example, like a person who appraises the house has come to the house, and they had black and white couple there, so it's like a interracial relationship, right? You know what I'm saying?
Living in the house, they came to see it.
No, living in the house.
Okay,
right. Person came to appraise the house. They listed it at this price. Then they had an all black couple living at the house.
Oh,
right.
Same house.
Person came to appraise it. They listed at this. Then they had an all white family living at the house. So guess which one was rated the highest? Obviously the white people.
Same house.
Then it was
different appraisers though.
Same. It might have been different appraisers.
The same appraiser's not gonna come to the same house.
Yeah, but basically studies show that like black houses are basically appraised at less than.
That's fucking disgusting.
And what's crazy, and this is why it's so wild, is because where my parents live, you can't even.
It's already an expensive area.
It's already a mad expensive area. And my parents put so much money into this house to renovate it.
Yeah.
My mom's thinking they're not going to get like a certain amount.
Back.
And then it turns out it looks like they're going to get more than what she even thought after all the work that they put in. And the crazy thing is like the people who appraise these houses, they come in and they appraise it based on what they see. They judge it based on their perceptions.
Yeah.
Who might be living there, blah, 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 all this bullshit, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter, because people who are spending this money to buy houses like that, they're just gonna fucking tear them down and like build whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
it's happening right now in my parents' neighborhood.
Yeah,
people that I grew up next to,
knock it down
all my entire life, next door to me. They moved. What do the new people come in and do? Fucking rip the big ass tree out the yard, change up the entire house, outside of the house, inside, everything.
Yeah.
My mom was like, what the fuck does this even matter? Like,
it's not gonna look like this when they're done with it.
Exactly. I put all this money to fix it.
No one in that area, I'm not gonna say the area, but no one in that area of the city is gonna move in as is.
No one.
Nobody.
No one.
Nobody with money to live in that area is moving into the house as is.
Dog,
I'll just take it stock. Like, no.
Dog, when we moved into the house, my parents changed the house. It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know, man. It's just there's always challenges you face. Always something. It's literally always something.
That's actually disgusting though. That gets praised. Cheap.
Like you didn't know that. Right?
It gets. I mean, it's almost like
You're not surprised.
It's almost like it's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
but that's fucking like should even. Anyway, how's it sound though, guys? You guys like it? It sounds clean. I'm actually gonna enjoy editing this podcast because I feel like it sounds great. I'm glad we did this upgrade.
Yeah,
this is actually much smoother and easier. Actually, it feels like the live show just by holding the
mics. Yeah,
it gives me like it's like the live show feel, like me just kind of talking to you and chilling.
I know,
which I kind of like. I kind of like that.
I like it a lot more.
Speaking of live show, we need to fucking do one soon, but I don't know how in this COVID weather.
I know. COVID weather.
Yeah, that's what it is now. It's COVID weather. We're just hopping right into winter. No fall. Just gonna jump into winter. And we're gonna be sick right through fucking February. Can you believe
that COVID handled the summer like this?
The year. Can you believe we've been in COVID, quote unquote, quarantine / lockdown / pandemic for 6 months now? 6 months?
Just hearing you say that.
6 months. And you remember when we were first talking about it and I'm like, oh, it might be done by. I'm like, summer's finished. This is finished. All like. And we're actually here, and it's all finished, and we're still here.
Right,
Hearing you say
this is actually pissing me off so much.
6 months of COVID and more.
It's absurd
because we're going into December. This is definitely going to December.
Yeah,
easy, and the Ontario numbers have risen apparently. Which means I don't even know what the fuck is happening in the United States.
I don't even know.
I don't even want to
fuck. I actually don't care. I don't care. What we should literally be doing, is saying, "Yo, border, lock off. We're done." I don't care. Like,
for how long ever? Like, what type of life is this?
What do you mean? I can go
forever.
Ryan, I can go the next year without even thinking about going to the States.
You said 1 year. I said ever.
Look,
ever.
I don't think it's gonna take them ever to make a vaccine.
When? Is it just a vaccine that's gonna work? I don't know.
Ryan,
is everyone gonna fight it? Is the world gonna go crazy?
No, Ryan, look, the moment the vaccine comes out, it's literally just like the flu vaccine. A lot of people won't take it, but the people that take it will be more than enough. Like, it's gonna change the mentality.
Right.
But this is the actual big problem with COVID.
And what if they purposely don't release this vaccine?
I don't know. I don't believe in like conspiracy shit like that.
It's not even conspiracy. I'm just
purposely don't release the vaccine for what reason?
Money.
What do you mean money? What money?
Some more people are making money during this time. Certain people, and you know that.
Yes, I understand, but
not for the majority of the people, obviously.
But that's what I'm saying. The people who are making money during this time, like the fucking Jeff Bezos of the world and those people, they can't function off the world literally going to shit. They need people to work. Those people need slaves to work. That's what happens. They can't function. Bezos is only making so much money because niggas want to online shop all the time. They're going to.
This is crazy.
That's gonna happen, right? But it has to. Like, it just has to work. I forgot what I was gonna say though.
There's
like
fires everywhere.
Not about
what the hell's happening
next year. What was I gonna say?
Earth is on fire. It's flooding. There's locusts in Africa. What the hell's going on? I don't really believe in Bible stories, but what the fuck is going on?
Look, bro.
These are actually plagues.
It just
like, this is craziness.
It just needs to come out. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you it does. I don't even like. Just because people's mentalities will straight up change right away. Oh, but this is what I was going to say. This is actually the biggest problem with COVID, right? For people like us who have a higher chance of just being fine, might not even show symptoms. You might just be asymptomatic. Even if you have symptoms, you won't fucking die, right? The big problem with getting COVID is the fact that you have to be out of commission for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that lead time.
Yo, that's actually the worst part about getting fucking COVID to me.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I know that those 2 weeks, maybe even if it's the first week, is gonna be shitty.
Yeah.
I know that I'm gonna be sick and I'll just be like, fuck, it's gonna be crap.
Yeah.
But the majority of people can't afford to be off work for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That is the problem with COVID.
That's gonna mess people up.
And
it's already messing people up.
Yeah, and that's why like it's so frustrating.
And it's off just in case sometimes. Not even if you're actually sick, just in case.
And that's why like some people are so fucking frustrated because about people not following the rules. It's like, yo,
hit with it and you're fucking me over.
It's like, yo, even if we know you're gonna be good, it's like, bro, like if you're off, then I have to be off for 2. You know what I mean? And it's like
And if you get sick and bring it to work, now the whole place is sick
now we all
because of you.
Yo, like
I just got
an email. I just got an email before from my gym, right? Basically saying my studio, basically saying that because we're going into the time of year where people get more sick now.
Like, how you gonna tell now?
So literally, what they're saying is like, yo,
a sniffle, get out.
if you're sick, right, and you know that you can't come into work, you can't come back until you get a negative COVID test.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I find nothing wrong with that, right? But that's the reality because who
either say like, oh, that's just a regular cold. I'm taking your word for that.
No, go get a fucking.
Oh, it's just a cough. Go get tested then.
Go get tested.
No, I'm fine.
Because it's not just you. It's not just you. You have to be off 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You were here. I need to know.
Yeah.
Bro, and it's so stressful for small businesses now, man. It's so stressful. Like it makes you realize how many businesses are literally operating on just the fringes of what they can do.
It's crazy.
And it's literally not their fault. Anyone who starts a small business, it's really hard to, 1, be successful off the jump. 2, if you start a small business, there's a chance you're not even paying yourself for the first little bit because you have to get everything else up to par.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm basically seeing people in like the fitness industry, for example, like fitness owners who are basically saying like, yo, if like you actually need studios and like fitness and all these places to be open because if people's physical health declines, they're gonna get sicker way easier. Right? So you need these places.
It's actually gonna just snowball.
Yeah, you need these places to be open. They just need to be regulated in a way so that people don't get sick. But you need them to be open. But if these places close down again, these people are fucked. Yeah. Like these businesses are not coming back.
I know what you mean.
A lot of them are coming back. It's actually kind of scary, man. It's like pretty scary seeing it. I'm walking down Toronto. I'm walking down Queen Street, and I'm seeing, yo, do you know the Gap that's on Queen West? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like Queen and Spadina. There's like a Gap that's been there forever, like the last 20 years.
Queen and Spadina. Yes, yeah. You
know the Gap?
Yeah.
Gone.
What do you mean it's gone?
It's gone. It's
went out of business?
Out of business. Because I literally walked by.
Nobody's shopping.
I walked by it yesterday. I don't think they could stay because of COVID. It's empty. That thing's been there for 20 years, bro. There's another place on Queen.
They can't hold it.
There's another place on Queen Street. It's the crepe place or whatever. It's like it's a dessert place, but they just make crepes.
Okay, yeah.
It's been there forever. Black
gone?
And it has the red sign.
Yeah, gone.
Shut down. That's been there for like 30 years. It's been there forever.
Companies just getting
across from the Much Music.
Yeah.
area.
They're just getting dissolved.
Gone.
Because the biggest problem is rent.
Yeah,
because the rent doesn't stop for these leases and all. Like, how are you gonna pay for like one of the biggest lease fucking expenses are movie theaters?
Yeah.
You know how much movie theaters have to pay per month, bro?
I actually don't know.
Bro, who was I talking to? Someone told me it was like just over like $40,000 or $50,000 per month for that space. But think about the money that they're generating. Normally, 50 racks a month for your space.
Nothing.
I mean, think about how much your movie theater's really generating per month. Like on a movie. Like you're, how are you gonna hold that space if nobody is going?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm surprised none have closed down yet. I mean, they're going cheap now, but
I mean, I know they got those type of companies got those big corporate.
I know they have the budget
right?
to save it. Yeah, you're right.
Even then, it's still. But COVID has just made me realize a lot more things in the back end. Like when I go to if I go to a corner store and I see they're looking a little shaky, I'm like, yo, I get it. Like I really understand why. You go to some stores and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna see this here like next week.
He's like a corner store. Something you don't think about, but they're like, if nobody shops, if no one comes into my shop, I'm broke.
Finished.
And if you guys are all scared to come outside, then no one's buying anything.
Yeah.
Sorry to end it on sadness, guys, but this is real life, bro.
It's the world we're living in right now.
This is real life. But yeah, anyway. Hopefully you sound crispy to you guys.
Yeah.
This is the sound moving forward. This is the WNTT sound. Sound. Till next week, guys. See you guys.
Peace.
Later.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk. We need to talk.